I am making this video in a wonderfully unpredictable Member Day when the weather changes in a blink of an eye. So unpredictable as it can be your rental experience without planning the insurance ahead. What's including, what's not, and how to saving some money without taking risk. But let's have a start and learn a little bit more about insurance in Australia. Let's start this video with a short disclaimer. I'm not a professional or legal insurance advisor, which means I can't tell you which insurance works best for you. And everything I say in this video is uniquely based on my experience. In fact, in the video I will add also a few examples which are based only on what happened to me. In the last 20 years I've been renting cars here in Australia. And now let's talk about the type of insurances that you have here in Australia, with the first one being the TPL, Third Party Liability Insurance. And it covers damages or injuries to other people or properties, but not your rental car. The typical example here, when you hit another car, all of the damages of that car will be covered by the TPL, but there is no coverage for your rental car. So you will be out of pocket big time. The second level you have is the Collision Damage Waiver, which is technically not an insurance, but it's going to reduce your liability in case your rental car is damaged. CDW is not mandatory in Australia, but more often than not is included in the price. Obviously, it's always worth to check the rental condition to be sure that the collision damage waiver is there. One thing that is different here in Australia is that the excess on the CDW, so the money you will be out of pocket before actually the insurer will start paying, is going to be between at least $5,000 to $6,000. So much more than actually you may have experienced in other countries. And if you ask yourself why in Australia is so expensive, well, there are at least a couple of reasons. The first one being the wildlife. Once you leave the cities, there are plenty of kangaroos, wombat, even wild goats when you go into the outback. And if you're gonna hit any of these wildlife with your car, you will have honestly a big damage to the car. And one tip I can give you here straight away is to not drive during the night or even a sunset at sunrise, because this is the time when most of these wild animals come out. The second reason is that there are many unsealed roads here in Australia, and that's where it's not unusual to damage your bodywork or maybe your underbody of the car. Now let me give you a quick example. You have an accident and the car is damaged for $7,000. If you have an excess of $5,000, this means that you are gonna pay $5,000 and the car rental company will top it up with $2,000 to make it $7,000. That's how the excess works. Then you have the theft protection, which is gonna cover if your car is stolen. Usually the car rental company includes this insurance in the daily fee, and one of the reasons I guess is because theft is quite rare here in Australia. Of course it may happen, and this insurance is certainly an added peace of mind. And then you have a roadside assistance. It is usually not included in the daily fee, but in my opinion is a must-have, especially because sometimes you drive hours between two towns. It typically covers flat batteries, running out of petrol, lockouts, or simple damage to the engine. Now for example, if you're driving the countryside of Australia and you have a problem with the car and you need assistance but you don't have this insurance, they may have to drive 200-300 kilometers, and it can cost you up to $1,000 or $2,000 just for that. So make sure absolutely to have a roadside assistance, especially if you're planning to visit the countryside of Australia, which I absolutely suggest because that's the best part of Australia to experience. And now comes the full insurance, which covers most, if not all, of excess. And considering how high is the excess in Australia, honestly, it's a must-have when renting a car in Australia. But how much actually costs a full insurance? Well, it depends. First off, check your credit card insurance, because sometimes it can actually include a coverage of excess on the car rental, which is absolutely great. But read down to the small print, because for example, in my case, it was covering part of excess only, leaving me out of pocket for $700. Which is still better than nothing, of course, but it doesn't cover me 100%. The second possibility is to do this insurance straight at the desk when you pick up the car. But this is also the most expensive way actually to do insurance, because typically it can cost you between $20 and $50 a day. And it may not even cover the full excess. It's gonna cover possibly only part of excess, with you being out of pocket maybe for $300 or $500. Now, one interesting thing that happened to me many years ago is that I rented a car for $25 a day. I thought was a great bargain. Then I wanted to have a full insurance and they asked me for $30 a day. So the full cost of a car was actually $55 a day, which was more than twice the cost that I originally planned. Is there any other alternative? Well, for the last 5 years, I've been booking my cars from a comparative website, which is a sort of Airbnb of car rentals, where all of the providers are ranked between 5 and 10 stars based on the feedback of the customers like myself. So what I usually do when I want to rent a car in a place, I just filter above 8 stars and I get a short list of the most trusted rental company out there. And then I book from that list, as easy as that. And on top of that, I add an insurance directly on the website that costs me only between 8 and 10 euros or US dollars a day. And it covers everything, even the roadside assistance. It's honestly such a peace of mind. And whenever I rent a car, I always add this full insurance. It is also another possibility that is to buy this excess insurance from one of the local insurance websites. Typically the cost is similar to this comparative website. The only issue is that you have the third variable here. In case you have a damage, you have to deal also with this website. There is a difference with the way the full insurance works. If you do it at a car rental company desk, it's going to reduce your excess to either a small amount or to zero. And once you return the car, especially if you reduce it to zero, but it's going to be obviously more expensive, you just have to give back the keys and the car, and that's pretty much it. You can go straight to the airport without any worries. However, if you do the insurance on the booking website I suggested or on the insurance website, and you damage the car, when you take it back, the car rental company obviously is going to ask you money to cover this damage. So you will have to collect the invoice for this damage as well as the rental contract and send it back to the website, either the insurance or the booking website, to make a claim. And you will be refunded usually within 1 or 2 weeks. So you will be out of pocket for that amount of days. So what happened to me, for example, 3 years ago, I rented a car to go for camping, and unfortunately I scratched the car with a damage of $4,000. Luckily I took a full insurance on the booking website. So what I had to do, I had to pay $4,000 to the car rental company, and then I asked for the refund, and I got it 2 weeks later, as easy as that. To sum it up, if you do the insurance on the website and you're renting a car for about maybe 2 weeks, you're gonna save, $400, $500. But you're gonna have to add that layer of claiming at the end in case you damage the car, which is not a big issue, but just keep it in mind. So now you know exactly how car rental insurance works in Australia, and most importantly, how to avoid paying more than you need. Now, in the last part of this video, I want to show you quickly 3 possible car itineraries of Australia. But before doing that, I trust you appreciated the effort in making this video, so please take a moment to click on that like button and subscribe to the channel, because there are more videos coming next week about Australia.